Hello again, everyone. This is Chris Sciria, and that is, on my right side, Robert Harding. And this is the Citizen Sports Weekly video for Thursday, June 23rd, 2016.
12 years ago today, went to the senior prom.
You know,
memories.
For me, I think it was 31 years ago. Yesterday was the date because it was a Wednesday, but I believe it was June 25th.
Colored tux you wear.
1980. No, not prom.
Oh.
Saw Bryan Adams at the Rochester War Memorial. And
should have known.
And Heaven was the number one song in the USA that week on American Top 40, Casey Kasem. And so I saw Bryan Adams when he had the number one song in the country, Heaven. And I won't discuss what happened at the concert, but it was a nice time, no doubt about it. So
you won't discuss what happened?
No, I won't discuss what happened.
Interesting.
Hey, let me just check my phone real quick for some important message. Okay, nothing. All right, sorry. Okay, so we're going to talk a couple sports topics there. And one of them, and to me, I think this is one of the biggest sports stories of the decade, if not the century.
Wow.
Cleveland, Ohio.
Of the decade.
Championship team. First time since December 27th, 1964, when the Browns won the NFL championship. Predates the Super Bowl era. Cleveland has a world championship sports team. And I'm thrilled. I mean, you know I've been to Cleveland many times. And it's a great city, some great people there. And I am just absolutely thrilled for them. And I'll tell you, I was watching some of that parade yesterday. I don't think there was anybody left in Cleveland.
Northeast Ohio.
I mean, you know, it's funny. A guy I went to high school with, his name's Jeff Harder, okay? And he lives in Northeast Ohio. He's an art professor. And he put some photos on Facebook from the parade, I guess, from TV. And he says, no, I worked yesterday. And I said, well, I think you were the only one working yesterday. It seemed like everybody in Northeast Ohio was out there for this parade. I mean, you could barely see the streets. I mean, I guess, like, there were so many people in the streets that the parade couldn't get through.
Yeah. There were a lot of people.
It's crazy. I never knew that many people lived in Cleveland or in Ohio, or that part of Ohio. I mean, Ashtabula and Willoughby and Akron and Canton and Stowe. Okay, I know my I know my Northeast Ohio here. Okay, all these they must have just dropped everything and went to that parade.
Stowe, Ohio.
It was that's the home of Larry Zonka, by the way.
Of course it is.
In Painesville, which is the home of Don Shula, which is in Northeast Ohio. So, yeah, it was great. I mean, what a great story. I mean, for the Cavaliers to be down 3-1, to come back, to beat the Warriors, to win 2 games at Golden State, which, you know, nobody thought they could do. I mean, that's what makes it so much sweeter for the Cavaliers and for Cleveland, because it didn't look good for them, and they just came back and played great and pulled it off. So, Robert, what are your thoughts about the NBA championship in Cleveland?
Well, for the city of Cleveland, I have a friend of mine, Brandon English, a big Cavs fan, and I don't think he has stopped posting on Facebook about it. You know, I mean, this is a town, you know, as you said, you know, haven't won a major professional sports title in 52 years. So, you know, for this moment, especially with the Cavs, with LeBron, you know, what his pledge was. To deliver on that, just impressive. And the series itself, you know, to go back, I mean, it wasn't too long ago that, you know, we were looking at this series 3-1. You know,
we thought it was over.
We thought it was over. Yeah, I mean, the Warriors, you know, certainly played strong. I mean, the Cavs had their moments early on in the series, but the Warriors were the ones winning the games. And, you know, that Draymond Green suspension, I think it flipped a switch. I think it certainly fired up LeBron. I think it fired up the Cavs too, that, you know, all right, let's take advantage of this. They win Game 5. They go back home. They win Game 6. Then it's, you know, 50-50. You go back to Golden State, sure, they have the advantage, but, you know, the Cavs played a great road game, and, you know, the Warriors, you know, they didn't put up over 100 points in that one. And the Cavs won the game.
It was a great series. I mean, although it's kind of weird to say it because most of the games were blowouts. I mean, it was either a blowout for the Cavs or for the Warriors.
Until Game 7.
Until Game 7. And Game 7, to me, lived up to the hype. I watched every second of it. It was thrilling. It's what makes sports great. I mean, it was amazing. And like I said, it's just great for Cleveland. It's an excellent city. It gets a bum rap sometimes, but it's a great city, and I'm just beyond thrilled that they finally have something to celebrate and dance in the streets about. And and I think even the Browns could go 0-16, and it wouldn't really bother them.
Yeah, yeah. The one play that sticks out, Game 7, that block.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't fully appreciate it in the moment because I was actually trying to watch the game while live blogging with David, our pro wrestling live blog, and I missed it in live. So I saw a clip later. I'm like, wow, that's a great block. The next day, I saw Deadspin posted, or I think it was SI.com posted a frame by frame.
Yeah.
Holy cow! Yeah. The ground that he
Yeah.
made up to make that block, amazing.
They already have a name for that. It's called LeBlanc.
LeBlanc.
Yeah.
Naturally.
But you think about it. We had the drive, we had the fumble, we had the shot, the decision. We had that play that you don't remember this, but I remember watching this when I was 14. But the Browns had an amazing team in the '81 season, and Brian Sipe was their quarterback, Sam Rutigliano was their coach, and they had a home game in the playoffs against the Raiders. And if they had won that game, I believe they would have faced. I forgot who they would have faced, but if they had won that game, I think they would have been in the AFC Championship game. They could have went to the Super Bowl, and they were down, I think, by 2 points or something. All they had to do was kick a field goal, and Brian Sipe decided to throw the ball in the end zone, and it got picked off by the Raiders. I think it was Clarence Davis, and that was all she wrote. And so Cleveland, if you saw that documentary, Believe Land, you know that there's been so many close calls and just bad karma. The Indians teams of the 90s going to 2 World Series and losing. And, Cavaliers obviously went to a few NBA finals and lost with LeBron. And the Browns have never been to the Super Bowl. So it's just an amazing story for Cleveland. And I'm just thrilled for them, really am.
Yeah. It's, being from Western New York,
Similar
another Lake Erie city familiar with disappointment. You can certainly relate, and I think that's why I'm not a Cavs fan.
Right.
In terms of basketball, I've rooted for the Bulls, but to see them win, certainly a piece of me was like, and I'm happy for them.
Yeah.
Glad to see them. The city as a whole get this moment.
Next topic is the U.S. Open golf tournament from last weekend. I guess there was, what's the word I'm looking for? Dustin Johnson.
A dust-up.
Yeah. The ball moved a little bit. I'm sure you saw it. The putter was near the ball. The ball moved a little bit. And the USGA said, well, we might have to penalize him a stroke, but we're not going to say anything until after the tournament's over with. We're not going to make a ruling right now. We're going to wait till after everything's over. Wow, there's a little pressure, huh?
Yeah.
And, I think we can criticize the USGA for how they handled things, but the most important part is it didn't affect the actual outcome. Dustin Johnson, I think, won by 3 strokes? It was cut down to 2, or 1 actually. I think he won by 2.
He had a cushion.
2 or 3.
Yeah.
So it didn't really affect the outcome. Dustin Johnson wins his first major championship. It's a great win, great story. Guy who's overcome. I think he had some cocaine issues earlier in his career, maybe.
Well, yeah. Reportedly, I guess.
Reportedly,
yeah.
I don't know if it was ever official, but
apparently
he was suspended.
Some sort of drug issue.
Yeah.
Some off the course issues.
Yeah.
Shall we say?
So it's a Cinderella story, to use one of our favorite golf terms, and it's nice. And it's nice to know the USGA's delay in making a ruling on this. Really, it shouldn't take that long. You get the video, make a decision. So.
Yeah, for me, I think the frustrating part, I was watching the tournament on Sunday, and the frustrating thing, for me, being a golf, viewer, golf fan, is that Dustin Johnson did all he was supposed to do. He saw the ball move. He said he didn't cause it to move. In fact, video replay shows that it's not like he hit the ball or did anything to cause it to move. At least that was obvious, and he consulted a rules official before he moved forward, and the rules official said okay, and that should have been the end of it. And then they come to him at the 12th hole. Now remember, this happened at the 5th hole,
Right.
and so then they come to him at the 12th hole and say, well, we might have to take a look at this after. No, that's not how this works. It should be, I know that there's many comparisons you could make to other sports. Well, this would be like, replaying a touchdown after, the game's over. And, those certainly apply. But, a decision was made, you move forward, and there shouldn't be any of this, hindsight garbage, this, this garbage about, oh, the round's over. I remember this with Tiger at the Masters, remember a couple years ago? And that spectacle. So, I think golf as a whole, not just the USGA, but certainly the RNA too, that, you have to come together and decide, how you want to approach these situations. Do you drag them out, or do you make a decision in the moment, which is what they should do?
Yeah, I mean, I think you could argue for both sides because you don't want to be too hasty. That's one thing. I mean, you don't want to be in a rush to make a decision and you make the wrong decision, okay? But on the other hand, this thing shouldn't take that long to drag out too. I mean, it's almost like in football, you play a play and there's a penalty, but you're like, well, we'll wait a couple more plays before we assess it. It's ridiculous. So in a weird way, everything worked out in the end, and Dustin Johnson won the U.S. Open. It's a great story, and then we kind of sit back from golf for a little bit and we wait for the British Open.
Yeah, not too far off.
No, that's about a month away. So, Robert, anything else you want to add?
I'm all set.
All right, we're going to wrap it up. We'll see you next week, folks.